Shalom, shalom, little Hebrews. We're in Bereshith, Genesis, chapter 6. Yah blesses Yitshaq, or as we know, Isaac. And there was a scarcity of food in the land, besides the first scarcity of the food which was in the days of Abraham. And Yitshaq went to Abimelech, sovereign of the Philistines in Gerar. Now, sovereign, little Hebrews are like the king. And scarcity of food means that there wasn't a lot of food supply. So he had to go travel and find somewhere where they had food. And Yah appeared to him and said, do not go down to Mitzrayim. Live in the land which I command you. Mitzrayim, or we know it as Egypt. Sojourn in this land, and I shall be with you and bless you. For I give all these lands to you and your seed, and I shall establish the oath which I swore to Abraham your father. And I shall increase your seed like the stars of the heaven, and I shall give all these lands to your seed, and in your seed all the nations of the earth shall be blessed. Because Abraham obeyed my voice and guarded my charge, my commands, my laws, and my Torah. Remember, little Hebrew, Abraham, Yah made a promise to Abraham as long as he taught them and kept these commandments. So he was keeping it and passing it down to the children like he said he would do. And in Isaac, he said that he would do this. So he's keeping his promise to Isaac now that he made with Abraham. And Yitshaq dwelt in Gerar. And when the men of the place asked about his wife, he said, she is my sister. For he was afraid to say, she is my wife, because he thought that the men of the place would kill him for Rebekah, because she was very good looking. So, he lied. He said, that's my sister. But we know that that was his wife, little Hebrews, but he was scared. And it came to be, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked through a window, and he watched and saw Yitshaq playing with Rivkah, his wife. So Abimelech called Yitshaq and said, see, truly she is your wife. So how could you say she is my sister? And Yitshaq said, because I said, lest I die on account of her. So he told him, I thought I was going to die if I told you guys that she was my wife, that you would kill me for her because she's, so beautiful. And Abimelech said, what is this you have done to us? One of the people had almost lain with your wife, and you have brought guilt on us. So he's saying that somebody would have took her as his wife, he would have caused them to commit a sin. So he was, upset. So he said, and Abimelech commanded all his people, saying, he who touches this man or his wife shall certainly be put to death. And Yitshaq sowed in that land and reaped in the same year 100-fold. And Yah blessed him. And the man grew great and went forward until he became very great. And he came to have possessions of flocks and possessions of herds and a great body of servants. And the Philistines envied him. So envy, little Hebrews, mean that they were jealous. They were mad because they saw that Yah had increased him with food, with land. He had a lot of stuff. Yah blessed him. Yah poured a blessing on him. So let's see what happens. And the Philistines had stopped up all the wells which his father's servants had dug in the days of Abraham his father, and filled them with dirt. And Abimelech said to Yitshaq, go away from us, for you are much mightier than we. So what they did, little Hebrews, was they blocked water supply and put dirt in there because they were, jealous, and they didn't want Isaac around them anymore. So Isaac went from there and pitched his tent in the Wadi Gerar and dwelt there. Isaac or Yitshaq, little Hebrews. Remember, Yitshaq is in Hebrew, so that's the way I'm saying it, but it's still Isaac. And Yitshaq dug again the wells of water, which they had dug in the days of Abraham his father. But the Philistines had stopped them up after the death of Abraham, and he called them by the names which his father had called them. But when Yitshaq's servants dug in the wadi and found a well of running water there, the herdsmen of Gerar strove with Yitshaq's herdsmen, saying, the water is ours. And he called the name of the well Issac, because they strove with him. So they were fighting over it, and they're like, it's ours, but it really wasn't. But, I guess, So they went somewhere else and they dug another well, and they strove over that one too, and he called its name Sitnah. So they fought over that one. So they went and looked again, and he moved from there and dug another well, and they did not fight over it. And he called its name Rehoboth and said, for now Yah has made room for us, and we shall bear fruit in the land. So that was the spot Yah wanted them to be, because now there was no more fighting. And from there he went up to Beersheba. And Yah appeared to him the same night and said, I am the Almighty of your father Abraham. And do not fear, for I am with you, and shall bless you and increase your seed for my servant Abraham's sake. And he built an altar there and called on the name of Yah. And he pitched his tent there, and the servants of Isaac dug a well there. And Abimelech came to him from Gerar with Ahuzeth, one of his friends, and Pekod, the commander of his army. And Yitshaq said to them, why have you come to me, seeing you have hated me and have sent me away from you? But they said, we have clearly seen that Yah is with you. And we said, please let there be an oath between us, between me and you, and let us make a covenant with you, that you do not do evil to us, as we have not touched you, and as we have done only good towards you, and have not sent you away in peace. You are now blessed by Yah. So they wanted to make a promise that it wouldn't be any evil between either on each side of both parties. And he made them a feast, and they ate and they drank, and they rose early in the morning and swore an oath with one another. And Yitshaq let them go, and they departed from him in peace. And on the same day it came to be that the servants of Yitshaq came and informed him about the well which they had dug, and said, we have found water. So he called it Sheba. Therefore the name of the city is Beersheba to this day. And when Esau was 40 years old, he took wives, Yehudith, the daughter of Beri the Hittite, and Basemath, the daughter of Elhon the Hittite. And they were a bitterness of spirit to Yitshaq and Rebekah. So that means, little Hebrews, that Isaac and Rebekah did not approve of the wives that Esau took. They were very hurt by that, because Esau went and took wives outside of the genealogy. They went outside and he took strangers, and they were very sad about it. They didn't want him taking wives from a strange land with strange people, because they live a different way. So they were very sad. So little Hebrews, that's the end of Genesis chapter 26, and we're going to get ready to ask you some questions. Shalom and Yah bless.